Greetings, YouTube. Recently, Ander did a video where he was talking about developing characters that aren't just a bunch of stats. And during the video, he commented that his preference is not to build a 20-level build, not to plot out what your character is going to go from 1st to 20th. And I like to actually do that. This is an experiment just for fun, because I want to know where my character is going to go. And to me, that isn't necessarily shackling the character to a future. It's pointing you in the direction of where that future should be, could be. Just as in when you leave on a journey, you don't just get in your car and drive. That's not a journey, that's an epic tale, perchance. If you're going to go to a specific location, you plot a path between where you are and where you want to go. So thinking about this, I thought, okay, I can come up with a character idea here as an example. So I was at work the other night. I made some notes here. So I came up with an idea of what I would do if I were going to play a character, say in Ander's game. And I say, okay, I want to know what you guys need. He tells me, okay, we could use some kind of a martial character. I said, okay, I can do a martial character. So I came up with an idea for a martial style character, specifically one that emphasizes ranged combat. So I came up with the idea of Cedric Greenhart. And before people say, oh, Greenhart's really dumb, I actually know someone in the real world whose last name is Twoheart. So Greenhart isn't that strange. And Cedric Twoheart is the son of Davin Twoheart and the grandson of Tristan Twoheart. Now, Tristan Twoheart was the king's huntsman, widely proclaimed as one of the greatest archers that has ever lived. Even the elves admit that Tristan Greenhart was a great archer. And his only son, Davin, wanted to step into his shoes and carry on that family tradition. The problem is, Davin Greenhart was lazy, and he liked wine a whole lot. And he lived off of the fame that his father had established, as opposed to trying to be a great archer and a good hunter. So he fell in with the crowd that was less than reputable, and found himself helping others with his ranger skills to smuggle. And he got caught, and he was found guilty, and he got shipped off in a slave galley, bringing incredible amounts of shame to the Greenhart family. And Cedric Greenhart, the youngest, is still to this day mortified that his father has done this and done such a horrible bit of damage to the Greenhart family history. But the worst crime in Cedric's mind that he did, worse than disgracing the family history, worse than being arrested for smuggling, is that he lost his grandfather's bow in a game of dice. So if I were going to play Cedric, I would be running a non-magic ranger, probably the skirmisher from the Advanced Player's Guide. I don't see spells as being something Cedric is into. He obviously is emphasizing stealth and some athletics, some climbing, survival. He would be taking craft, bow, or Fletcher, cranking all these things up as high as he could, of course. And he would be emphasizing all the feats he could lay his hands on that would emphasize bows. And yes, that is dead standard bow class. But my background at least makes Cedric a little more interesting, even though I'm taking classic types of feats and skills for an archer. When he gets to a point in his career where he can take an animal companion, he's going to seek out and try to find the best quality hunting dog he can. I don't know how the game reflects that. I think there might be some Pathfinder, something out there that has different types of dogs that you can get that have different characteristics. I think I've seen something like that somewhere. I could just be hallucinating. When he finds himself stuck in physical combat, I would be emphasizing the buckler and a parang, which is sort of, I've shown a parang here on this channel, which is sort of a slightly curved, slashing short sword. It's a camp weapon. It's a tool that he uses when he's not using his archery and he's using his survival, but it's a useful weapon when you get stuck. A kukri, to some degrees, is a version of a parang, but it's a little more weapon, a little less tool. The parang is very much a tool that Cedric would be using as a weapon. And as a side note, bucklers are held in your hand They are not strapped to your arm. And Cedric would hold the buckler in his hand because that's how bucklers are used. I would probably want to get my hands on a Darkwood buckler. Again, a classic example of using a game mechanic to your advantage, but would make perfect sense for Cedric to have a Darkwood buckler. Light, nature-based. He moving away from the whole idea of being shackled to a lot of technology. Cedric would learn how to speak Elven, even though I would not put extra points into his intelligence. As far as stats would go, I would probably want to have his +2 both bonus in Pathfinder, in Dexterity, obviously. So I could see the character having a +16 Dex, 14 Strength, 12 Con, maybe a 12 Wisdom, and a 10 in Intelligence and Charisma. He's not showy, he's not overly bright. He is very much a hunter. His goal is to become a hunter. So he's got 4 goals for this character. The first is become the greatest archer that has ever lived in his kingdom, to outshine his grandfather's fame and earn it. Become the king's huntsman. So at level 20, if he were to survive that long, he would retire as the king huntsman if he could, and then go on to teach and lead the king on hunts and things like that. Be in charge of taking care of the king's game. He wants to recover Tristan's bow, his grandfather's bow, which means hunting down his father, finding the guy his father lost the bow to, finding the bow, recovering it. It would be a longbow, recurve longbow, masterwork, that kind of thing. And then, of course, rebuilding the family name. Now, as far as use of bows, Cedric has no problem using magic bows or magic arrows when he's out adventuring or when he's hunting humanoids or magical beasts and things like that. But when he's participating in archery competitions or he's hunting game for the purposes of hunting game, he only uses non-magical equipment. So he is not going to use anything but his own skill. His goal is to show the universe, even if no one's watching, that it is his skill that is winning the day, and no tricks, no extra little bonus that some magic spell is granting him. That even if he fails horribly, he fails on his own. So I would plot out a 20 level build. I haven't with this character. Again, this is a thought experiment. I would plot a 20 level build out. I would put down how I would be spending my skill points. I would be putting down how I would be doing my feats from first level all the way through 20. How I would be spending the skirmishers. Gets different kind of rangery options, very similar to what the rogue gets for their talents. And what I would be picking out. Now, would some of these ideas change over the course of a character's life? Yes, they could. All right? Just as if you're plotting a path somewhere and you encounter a detour, you have to go around it. Or you encounter something you never knew was going to be on that journey and you head off in that direction. But eventually you want to still get to your goal. And I can't see Cedric's goal changing so much that he would not want to achieve the 4 goals that I have laid out here. So this is my defense of the whole idea of a full 20 level build. I know some people don't like them. I do them just for fun. I think they're interesting, even though I'm not really gaming at the moment. So I'm looking forward to what Andrew has to say about this. And if anyone else out there is a lover of 20 level builds, tell me. I want to know.